5 things you need to know if you got your PPP loan through Womply and now you want to apply for forgiveness. Welcome back to the Clara CFO Group channel. Today we're going to talk about all of the people who got their loans through Womply who are now in this place where they're finding themselves wanting to apply for forgiveness. They might be completely bombarded by emails and text messages from the lender asking them to apply for forgiveness, and it might be a confusing process. So we're going to talk about that today, and I'm going to give you 5 tips to help you walk through what you need to do and what you need to know in order to apply for forgiveness and get it done, get it off your plate. That is what this video is about. So we're going to hop into that in just a second. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please make sure you're subscribed, because this is the type of information we like to bring to you and help your small business out. So that's what we're here for. And that's what this channel is all about. So go ahead and subscribe and make sure you like this video if it's helpful. All right, let's go ahead and get into tip number 1. So tip number 1 is remember that Womply was a middleman. Womply was a middleman in the PPP process. And when I mean middleman, what I mean is that they had the portal that you logged onto, got all your information, but they actually distributed your application to the lender. So the lender was the one who actually issued your PPP loan. A friend of mine got a loan through Womply, and the end lender was something called Benworth Capital. So your loan came from a different lender. It didn't actually come through Womply, because Womply has never been a bank, is not an actual lender. They are a middleman. So the first thing that you're going to need to find out is who was it that actually distributed your loan. And this would have been on your PPP paperwork. It might even be in the deposit that you got from that lender. It might even be in the notes in your bank transaction. So go back to the bank statement, figure out that date that you actually got the money deposited. That's an important date anyway, because that's the start of your covered period. And figure out who the lender actually was. And those people might be contacting you right now, but you might think it's a scam, because you might be like, wait a second, I got my loan through Womply. What's going on? So make sure you know who you got your loan from, because then you'll know if these communications are legitimate or not. Now, you might also be getting emails from the SBA asking you to apply for forgiveness, and that's okay too, okay? So if you go to Womply right now and you try to apply for forgiveness, they're just going to be directing you to other places. They're going to say, reach out to your lender, and they're going to say, go to the SBA Direct Forgiveness Portal. So number 2, the second thing you need to know is that you do need to apply for forgiveness. This is not an automatic thing. I've had lots of people ask if this is automatic, and it is not. It is not automatic. If you do nothing, what will happen is after the end of your covered period, you have 10 months to apply for forgiveness. So if your covered period was 24 weeks and then you have 10 months to apply for forgiveness, after that point in time, you need to start making payments on your PPP loan. So you're going to start getting requests for payment, basically, because you'll start defaulting on your loan. And some of these email communications I've been seeing coming from these lenders is that it's very urgent sounding and almost kind of scary language of like, you're going to default and all this stuff. And it's kind of meant to drive you to action. But it might be putting you in a place where you're just like, what do I do? I don't know. So that's why we're talking about this today. After that 10-month period, you will have to start making payments on your loan. So you don't want to have to do that. So try to apply for forgiveness before that 10-month window is over. So after your covered period, you have 10 months to apply for forgiveness before you have to start paying on the loan. Okay? So you do have to apply for forgiveness. That's tip number 2. Tip number 3 is it's really not that hard. Okay. So the friend of mine that I was talking about who needed help with this, she kind of got overwhelmed with all of the emails and even started applying, but got overwhelmed with just not really knowing what to do and what to do next. So the trick is that it's really not that hard. We got it done in about 5 minutes. It is not a hard thing to do. And the great thing is that under $150,000, which if you got your loan through Womply, it was under $150,000. If it was under $150,000, then you do not have to even submit any documentation. Now, there's a little caveat to that. If you got a second draw loan, you might have to provide your proof of revenue decline, but you don't even have to upload documentation. So really, you're just logging in and filling things out based on what you know about your loan and what you actually spent. Okay, so it shouldn't really be that hard. I encourage you to go ahead and set it up and start doing it, because it's not going to be as hard as you think it is. Okay, tip number 4 is I have already created a walkthrough of the SBA forgiveness portal, and I'm going to link it up here, and I will link it in the cards at the end of this video. So if you want to wait for it there, you can. I will also put it in the description box below so you have it everywhere. But there is a walkthrough of the forgiveness portal already. So most of these lenders have applied to be a part of the SBA forgiveness portal. So if you got your loan through Womply, more than likely you're going to be able to apply for forgiveness through the SBA forgiveness portal. So it's extremely easy to log in. Actually, the hardest part is probably creating a login. And then once you put in your information and everything, it will pull up your loan information and pre-populate a lot of that stuff so you don't have to do that much. And then you just go in and verify some information and walk through the rest of the process. So it's really not that hard. And the forgiveness portal, I've already done a walkthrough, and I will make sure that is available to you. Make sure you go and watch that video if you are able to use the portal for your loan. And you can also go ahead and register an account on the SBA portal and then put in your loan information, and then it will tell you whether or not you can apply, because it'll do a quick lookup based on some really basic information like your taxpayer ID and then your loan amount. If you have those two things and you create a login, you can see if you're able to apply for PPP forgiveness on the SBA Direct Forgiveness Portal. Now, tip number 5 is that remember, even though you do not have to upload documentation to get forgiveness, you do still need to have documentation on hand. So remember that you need to save your bank statements from the time that you spent any of the PPP money. And if you do have any payroll records, or if you did decide that you're going to use part of it for rent or utilities or some of the other allowable non-payroll costs, make sure you save your documentation, okay? Now, if you need more help on documentation, I'll link more videos below. But we've got, basically, you still need to have done it correctly. You still need to have documented that you spent the money, because if you get audited 2 or 3 years from now, they're going to want to look at your documentation. And now is the time to save your documentation, not trying to go and pull payroll reports 3 years down the road, okay? Or even try to find bank statements. Sometimes banks lock away their bank statements, and it becomes difficult to try to find them. So go ahead and grab that stuff now. Make it easy on yourself. Do yourself a favor for future self and go ahead and save your documentation now. All right? Okay, well, those are my tips for you. Make sure you check out the Direct Forgiveness Portal walkthrough, which is the video that I'm going to link in the cards up here again. And then we're also going to make sure that's available for you below. But go and get these PPP loans forgiven. Go forth. Be done. Be done. Get it wiped off your plate. Be forever done with PPP, and save that documentation. Put it somewhere safe. Maybe make a copy somewhere just in case, and you'll be on your way, and you can sleep peacefully that all of this is behind you. All right? Thanks for watching. If this was helpful, give it a big thumbs up. All right. Bye.